Hey, Shalom, Markins of Karma Kapash from GMS London, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bah Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chachadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole elect, preaching his truth and all sincerity. Back in another video, and I got this article here from the International Business Times, right? And you probably already heard about the bird flu that's going around right now. A lot of culling of these birds and chickens, right? Has been going on recently. And so that's causing strain in the supermarkets, right? And concerning eggs and stuff like that. So this article is concerned on the egg shortages that it's causing, right? And so my thing is, the point of this video is, just to say this really, you people are prepared to go back to rationing because, albeit these are just eggs at this moment in time, there's going to be a shortage on all things in the earth in due time. A little bit like how we experienced back in, during the pandemic when the stores, shelves were empty of certain products and whatever. And, people are queuing outside in order to be able to get things and whatever, man. We're heading into those times, but far worse again, right? As we draw closer to the end of this kingdom, right? So they're, at the moment being rationed these eggs. They can only buy a certain amount of eggs, right? And that's how how things are going to operate, how it's going to be like when this devil introduces his MOTB, the mark of the beast, right? He's going to control what you can and can't buy, and the quantities of these things, right? As they control resources, right? Because resources are going to be limited, all right, because of the state of the world is going to be in. All right, so let me just quickly get into this article and look up some scriptures. All right, so this is again for the International Business Times. It says here, Costco, Trader Joe's impose egg rationing as avian flu hits supply. Egg prices have been rising, right? Because obviously what comes with supply and demand, right? When there's less supply, okay, demand for these things go up, and so the prices of these things go up. All right, because there's a shortage, not enough to share, right? And so the prices go up. But when things get so bad, shit get really expensive to the point where you can't actually buy it because it's no longer obtainable, right? So that's how things eventually phase out, right? It starts with getting more and more and more expensive, and then when it's so damn hard to get, guess what? There is just no price you can put on it because it don't exist anymore. You can't get it anymore, right? And so people are going to experience these types of things, all right? But right now the prices are going up. Okay, just much like everything else these days, right? Oh, hello. So the egg prices have been rising, and stores are reporting shortages due to the ongoing bird flu outbreak, right? And it's got here a little caption here. So this year, the price of eggs jumped to $3.82 per dozen, up from $1.74 they cost in 2020. So people already know, they can feel it, they've seen it, right? The cost of everything going up, right? And this is not by accident. This is all by design, and part of this design is the mark of the beast system, right, where everything is going to be limited supply, right? And that, so they're gonna have to call on there's gonna be a call to control a lot of these products that we consume, whether it be oil, fuel, petrol, diesel, whatever, food, water, all these different types of things, energy, right? They're going to be controlled and monitored through the MOTB system. All right, the government's going to control these items, and so you're going to be restricted to what you can and can't have. Okay, so it says an egg shortage triggered by avian flu has prompted several grocery stores, including Costco and Trader Joe's, to limit purchases. Trader Joe's, with about 600 stores across the US, has a 1 dozen eggs per day limit. Right, so you could only go in there and buy a dozen eggs from Trader Joe's. You can't buy no more. Right. So we hope these limits will help to ensure that as many of our customers who need eggs are able to purchase them when they visit Trader Joe's, right? And that's the same thing that went on during the World Wars, right? When you had the rationing card system, and it was because the prices were fluctuating so much, things were getting out of control. People couldn't afford these items no more, but it was limited supply. So only the rich were able to purchase these things for a time, right? Until the government stepped in and basically controlled all these resources, and they handed out these ration cards, right? So everybody could get rather than just the rich. So it's the same excuses that's going to take place. So, in order for everybody to be able to get things, so nobody's without. We're going to limit the supply of limit the amount you can have, right? But everybody should be able to get, right? That's what they're going to do when the MOTB comes out, right? To ensure that everybody can get what they need, right? But the requirement is that you take the MOTB, okay, which is going to be the RFID implantable microchip, right? Sprout Farmers Market has also set limits on the number of fresh eggs customers can buy. A sign on empty eggshells informed customers that egg availability may be limited in the coming weeks and restricting purchases to 4 dozen per visit. Right, so every store's got their own amount that you can buy from, right? Due to supply shortages, availability may be limited in the coming weeks. Limit 4 dozen eggs per visit, a sign on one California store stated. Warehouse giant Costco warns of shortages. Costco issued a statement saying, due to supply challenges caused by the highly pathogenic avian influenza, shell eggs and egg products may be short or cut from delivery orders without notice, right? So they might just take it off the shelf completely, right? We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. The grocery giant has reportedly imposed a limit of 3 packages of eggs per person and set a limit for online orders, allowing members to buy a maximum of 5 dozen eggs at a time. Many shoppers took to social media to share pictures and videos showing panic buying, right? Because that's what these animals do, right? They just panic buy. Oh my God, right? Showing panic buying of massive amounts of eggs at the supermarkets, right? So that's what they're meant to be doing. But your actions are predictable because this is how Esau has trained you to behave, basically, right? This is the frantic customers are now panic buying massive amounts of eggs at Costco, just like they did with toilet paper during the Trump's last term. This is only the beginning of the chaos. Yeah, these are signs of things to come. Right now, it's all you to do with eggs, so it's not a big deal like that, compared to the pandemic, previously. But things in general are going to become worse, and all products are going to be affected because logistics and just like the pandemic, shit was fucking with logistics and all kinds of things. So there's going to be great turmoil in the earth, man. It's going to affect the availability of all these different types of products, right? So let's just jump to the scriptures now, right? I'm going to start with Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. Okay, this is a prophetic verse here concerning the black horse, right? Which represents the prices of goods going way up, right? Which is what is happening, but it's gonna spiral out of control. Okay, so Revelation 6 verse 5 says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine, right? So things that were affordable one time, right, is going to become very difficult to afford, right? Your salaries, your wages that you earn isn't going to buy you very much, right? Some of these items are going to cost you a whole day's wages, which is what this is going into. This is what the measure of wheat for a penny represents, a day's wages, okay, for a measure of wheat, like your common groceries, like a loaf, breads and milks and stuff, eggs, whatever. It's going to cost you a whole day's wages, and eggs are more expensive than bread, so you expect eggs to be way up compared to bread. But this is what it represents: inspiring prices that are out of control that you can't really afford. right? All you can, that's all you could afford to feed you and your family. It's like a loaf of bread or some shit. Okay, so that's what's gonna happen. Okay, when things get real bad. But I mentioned, right, that for now, prices are obtainable. You can buy these things still, but something's going to come at your at your price range, right? So this is Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 21. It says, "Behold, victuals shall be sold good cheap upon the earth, and they shall think themselves to be in good case," right? And that's been the case for all these years. Like, yeah, people find it more difficult in these latter times, but these things are still purchasable, right? It's not costing you a whole day's wages to buy. Yeah, it's costing you more, but you know, people are spending an extra 20 quid, 30 quid, 40 quid on their shopping compared to what depends on what that depends how much you spend in the first place, right? But let's just say you're paying an extra like 30% on your shopping or whatever. Let's just say that, right? But you can still manage, whether it be just about or not. Some things you might have to sacrifice in order to do that, as has been happening. But achievable to most part, okay. But it's gonna come a point in time where it's not gonna be achievable. It's not gonna be practical. Like you ain't gonna be you ain't gonna be able to be buying things for like a meal. Literally, you won't be able to find afford or even find um you know things to make a meal like you would usually. You know, you go make a casserole or something or whatever. Because all you can afford is the bread, or you can afford is bread. You can have beans on toast. That's it. That's what you're gonna be eating, like one meal a day type shit. Right? Because you're broke now. Anyway, right, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth. Right? Evils are only going to grow in the earth. So troubles and pain is what's ahead of us. Right? Greater evils and greater pains. Right? So sword, famine, and great confusion. Right? So these are things that are going to grow in the earth. So notice sword and famine. Right? Death by sword, death by famine. Right? There's going to be a lack of food in this world. Right? So for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, right? And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Right? That's what's like I said, that's what's ahead of us. All according to prophecy, these kingdoms are falling apart, right? And violence is on the uptick, right? And famine is on the horizon. Okay, so these nations are going to be in great turmoil. Okay. This is Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. It says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown." Right. So not only at the beginning you're going to deal with higher prices, like much higher prices. There's going to come a point in time where these things are just not obtainable anymore, whether you could afford it or not. Right. Because some things are not about money. How much money you got. Right. Some things just can't be obtained. Right. And it's going to get like that. Right. So people that feel confident or comfortable because they got a lot of money, that's not going to matter. Your riches are not going to defend you in that day. It's not going to be able to provide you with food. Okay. So suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, the trumpet shall give a sound, and which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Right, it's gonna be a terrible time, and you're gonna know how dire it is when you can't get food. Right, that's how you know you're in the time of Jacob's trouble and all these types of things, because it's just gonna be crazy. Right, there's gonna be no semblance of modern day life at all. Right, more of a fight for survival on all fronts. And I'm going to read this from Genesis chapter 47, because like I said, these are the times that we're heading in, and these, things like this have happened before, right? If things are written aforetime, are written for our learning, and Esau plans to capitalize on these events or these things these scenarios that are going to take place, that he's behind the scenes orchestrating ultimately, right? Through the spirit of the Lord on the left hand side, right? Esau all this is being manufactured so he can gain greater control over the earth and get everybody to take his mark, right? But like I said, these things have happened before in time, And we've got an account here from Genesis 47. And I'm going to read from verse 18 here. And this is during the time of famine in Egypt, the 7 years of famine. So verse 18 says, when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year and said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent, right? Because they were spending all that they had to try and get, food or grain from Egypt. All right, so people are going to find themselves in a similar situation now, where their money is going to be just gone. It's going to be wasted, not wasted, but it's going to be used up buying whatever they can to survive, and eventually it's going to dry out, and they're not going to have anything to buy with, right? And this is Esau's plan, right, to do away with the old money system and to bring in the new money system, which is digital currencies, CBDCs, right, on the blockchain. Like, that's what he's setting it up for, right? Because when the currency gets inflated so much, your currency is not worth anything, right? And that's what inflation ultimately is your currency is being devalued. Okay, so he wants to do away with this old system and bring in this new digital system, okay, which is going to be the interface for that is going to be this RFID chip. Okay, just much like we're using our phones and our credit cards today. You swipe and you tap, right, with this chip inside it, right? Well, that's what they're going to use. Okay, but the technology is going to be in your hand or in your forehead. All right. So yeah, it says, we will not hide it from my Lord, how that our money is spent. My Lord also have our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our lands, right? And you link that up with what the WEF is saying about how you will own nothing, right? You literally will be left with nothing, right? And you will be at the whim, at the mercy of these governments and basically these elites that want you to take this mark, right? Because you have no other alternatives, you have no other options. So you're gonna be, put into a corner, so to speak, right? So you're gonna be forced to take that mark because that is the only way you're gonna be able to receive, food and different types of provisions, man. Based on them giving you this mark and giving you access to rations of certain things. All right. Verse 19. Why shall we die before thine eyes, before we and our land? Sorry, both we and our land. Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. And that's what ultimately Esau is doing. He's making you all servants to the highest levels when you take his mark, right? But the people are gonna be all right with that choice ultimately because they're gonna die otherwise. So when people are faced with death, people do all sorts of things to stay alive, right? And so they're not going to see it as too big of an issue to give up all their liberties, all their rights, and all these different types of things in order to survive. And Esau knows this. Obviously, there's going to be a fringe, people in the world that are going to resist and fight. These truthers and whatever, right? They're going to resist, right, for the most part. But they're only going to be put to death because Esau's not going to be having that, right? But then you're going to have other groups like us, and that are just going to resist. We're not going to put up no armed resistance or nothing. We're just going to rely upon the Lord, But we don't intend to be taking this or being forced to make that decision in favor of Esau because we ain't limited for options. Okay, we don't feel limited for options, man. We got the Heavenly Father, and we trust and believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to deliver us in that time, right? But these people don't have the faith and belief of the scriptures to see that other option, and so they're just gonna take the mark, right, and be destroyed ultimately, right? But back here in verse 19 it says, buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field. You gave up everything. You gave up everything that you could in order to get this food, get this bread. All right. For the Egyptians sold every man his field because the famine prevailed over them. Right. They were openly defeated by the famine, and that is what you people are going to be. You're going to be defeated by the famine, by the war. Right, you're going to be defeated by these things. People put up a hard front with certain things. No, I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. But everyone has their limits. Well, most people have their limits, right? And so you're going to cave in under the pressure, right? So that's what when it gets down to food, that's a serious thing now, and people, asking themselves all kind of questions, you know, and they're going to do what they feel like they need to do to survive and provide for their family or whatever. All right, so they're going to basically cave in under that pressure, right? So yeah, because for the Egyptians sold every man his field because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. Okay, and so in this world, in this age that we're living in, it's going to become Esau's, right? More completely. Okay, you want to become permanent, unescapable servants of Esau, right? And as for the people, who removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt even to the other end thereof, right? So you're his to do what he wants with. So he wants to relocate you and put you in a 15-minute city or an internment camp or concentration camp, whatever. He has the right to do that. He could order you places, otherwise you ain't gonna get what he's offering. It's as simple as that. You're his property, right? And he'll do what he wants with it. All right, so that's what happened back then, and this is a similar thing. What's going to happen now? All right, and like I say, it all surrounds this mark of the beast in this time that he plans to give to the people. Right, so I'm going to close out with this. Right, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. Right, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor. Right, because I say your money's not going to matter. Let's say you people that trust in your money, that all these jakes thinking that they're making money. Right, this shit ain't gonna matter. Right, you got old money. Right, you ain't got the digital money yet. But like yeah, money is not gonna be very good when you can't actually just, the things that you need isn't available. Right, when the government takes control of whatever's left, your money don't mean shit, because now we're not on that system. Okay, you have to get on the new system. Right, and like I said, your money ain't gonna be worth shit anyway. But that ain't gonna be able to help you in that time. Right, people that trust in their riches. Right, so this is what it's gonna be. Right, so he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right, so basically you're gonna all these things are gonna prevail over you, and you're gonna take this mark. Right, why? Verse 17 says, well, because and that no man might buy or sell. Right, so the only way you can make any type of transaction to be able to purchase anything is if you have this mark, okay, which is the implantable RFID chip. Right, without it, you cannot buy or sell anything. So you have to be a part of this system in order to get anything at all. Right, and this is where all these CBDCs and these universal basic incomes, that's where all that comes in. Okay, that's Esau's new monetary cage that he's created for you, right? And so you won't be able to operate without it. And if they possess all the things that you need, guess what? Probably gonna have to cave in, right? Probably have to do what they tell you, right? At least that's what the majority of people are gonna think or believe, because they don't have no faith. All right. So he's doing the whole Pharaoh thing all over again, right? Taking advantage of the situation, and to be fair, the Egyptians, these men were begging Pharaoh to take them. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be the same way, because these people are going to look to the government to save them, because they're not able to do nothing of their own selves. Right? So they're going to be begging. A lot of the people are going to be begging for this chip. When it comes. So yeah, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, so that's the situation that's evolving right now, and again with these eggs and that, you'll be going back to living on rations, man, according to what the government say, and if you got that mark, right? So are you prepared? Are you ready to live on the scraps that the elites are prepared to give you, man, for your service, for your obedience? Are you ready? Anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, it's been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until then, I say shalom.